Hello and welcome to Piwik PRO YouTube video series. In this video, we'll explore how to install Piwik PRO on a website, showcasing several examples. This video has a guest, Antoni, who is implementation specialist at Piwik PRO and is often involved in helping our clients installing as well as implementing our platform. So, what we're gonna learn today? We'll start with some basic pre-installation setting checks that is good to do before installing Piwik PRO. Then we will learn how to install our platform via official Piwik PRO WordPress plugin, which is probably the easiest method of installation if your website happened to be built on WordPress. After that, we will show you an example of manual installation via CMS, Content Management System. Because WordPress has a plugin, we will use Joomla as our example. Then we'll explain how to install Piwik PRO via GTM, Google Tag Manager. We're going to add there some important comments with information that you should be aware of if you are considering this method of installation. Finally, Antonio will share some general comments on integrating Piwik PRO with frameworks using dedicated libraries. I'm referring to frameworks such as Angular, React, Next.js or Gatsby. Okay, let's get to it. Hello everyone, my name is Michał Idziak. I'm a product evangelist at Piwik PRO. Today I'm joined by Antoni Barczak. Antoni, would you mind introducing yourself to our audience, please?
Yeah, my name is Anthony. I work at Piwik PRO as an implementation specialist, as a QA and process lead there. In general, we usually run implementation projects for our enterprise customers. We also have a community forum and some other stuff like helping our product managers expand and better the product.
Sounds good. Okay, so today I would like you to help us go through different installation methods. But before we do that, is there anything that you would recommend checking in Piwik PRO platform before installing Piwik PRO? Is there anything that we should bear in mind before we do the installation, before we start the process?
I don't want to go into depths, but I would for sure recommend consulting some privacy settings with your DPO or any other person that would be responsible for the legal / data privacy side of your website or of your business as a whole. That said, there are also some things from a more technical side that you want to sure you are aware of. One pretty much most important thing when installing the container is the awareness of how the product is structured. When you install the Piwik PRO container, we are talking about installing all of the modules. That means the tag manager, the content manager, CDP if it's available for you, and also the Piwik PRO data collection. So the important thing here is once you install the container, our content manager form will pop up for you automatically. Perhaps you don't want to display it as a first thing. Perhaps you want to make some adjustments, whether it comes to this styling, coloring, whatever it would be, the text. Maybe you want to hide it for a second before publishing it. You can do this pretty easily in a few steps. The first thing you want to do is go to the administration module. Once this is done, you want to go to the already created Piwik PRO site, go to the privacy tab, and then go to consent settings under ask a visitor for consent. Once we are here, you want to scroll down and you want to enable use a custom consent form setting. Once it's enabled, you want to save the settings. I'll close this down here because I have this already enabled. And now, once the setting is enabled, you should no longer see the consent form on your website. Once you have everything set up, the consent form looks good to you in the preview and the consent form editor, you can come back here and simply disable it.
Mm-hmm. And that would mean that the consent form will be shown to the visitor. Could you also turn it off here at this very page as well? What that switch next to the ask visitors for consent means? Can I turn it off in here as well? And if so, what is the difference?
The difference here is pretty big, and it's worth mentioning here. I chose
Could you first
this.
show visitors with the cursor what setting I am referring
sure.
to?
Michał meant this setting here, ask visitors for consent. Now, the difference is pretty big because if you decide to turn this setting off, all of the data that flows into Piwik PRO will be de-anonymized or not anonymous by default. You would have to manually anonymize it on your website, and we can't really do this at the beginning. Perhaps you don't have time to dig into the implementation yourself and so on. So the safest thing you can do at the beginning is simply run this setting instead. What this would do is only disable the front end, the displayed layer of the consent manager. It would still mean that all of the data that flows into Piwik PRO is anonymous by default. When this setting is turned on, you can't really accept to tracking, right? That means you can't really be de-anonymized. On the contrary, if you decide to disable this setting, everything that flows into Piwik PRO will be de-anonymized or not anonymous by default.
So you're basically tracking all the data with all the cookies, etc. Sounds good.
Yes, you don't want to do this right at the beginning.
Good. Okay, thank you for the explanation. Okay, so the first method of installation, we're gonna show you how to install Piwik PRO using WordPress platform. If you're familiar with that platform, it's quite popular. We're gonna start with this one. So, Antoni, there are probably two ways to install Piwik PRO on WordPress. We have a plugin, but one could be tempted to install it, let's call it manually. Would you recommend plugin or manual installation? What's your assessment of that?
This could be quite universal. I would generally advise to always use an official plugin released by Piwik PRO. That is for pretty much each environment, each CMS, whatever it would be. If there's an official way available, we'd like to use it. Now, for the pros and cons, there's pretty much very limited pros for using the manual method. It usually comes down to, for example, when you're a WordPress administrator, someone from your company restricts adding plugins to your website or simply to your WordPress environment for whatever reason, then yeah, you should be using the manual method because you have no other way. But let's focus on the plugin today because that's what we recommend and that's what you simply use for pretty much many reasons. One being that you get to have updates. You don't have to update the code manually. You simply update the plugin and the things show up automatically. And there's also some cool stuff like the WooCommerce integration, which automatically collects e-commerce events from your website. You don't have to implement stuff like data layer, like tags in our tag manager. It's everything done automatically without manual labor.
Not to mention, it's much easier to install it via plugin.
Yeah,
am I right?
Yeah. No need to code, no need to edit your source code of the website.
Okay. Any chance you could show us how to do that?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
So the first thing we want to do here is enter our WordPress dashboard or the WP admin section of your website. We want to install the plugin first. Let's show it. We want to go to the plugins section. There's no plugins available currently, but that's because there's a fresh WordPress installation. So we want to go to the add new plugin, then search for plugins, and we want to search for Piwik PRO. Okay, you can see many results here. What we want to do here is choose the one by Piwik PRO. So once you see it, you can click install now. It can take a couple of seconds. And you can also already activate the plugin here. Okay. You should be able to tell whether the plugin is activated, but by looking at the background, it should be light blue, or more precisely by seeing whether you can deactivate the plugin here. You can also enable auto updates to the plugin if you want so. I usually stick with manually updating the plugin. For whatever reason, I prefer more control and checking my website for plugins, for plugin updates pretty often. But that's up to you. Okay, so once the plugin is installed, activated, we want to go to the settings. If you have installed the plugin previously, you can also choose the plugin settings from this section here, as you can see. Now, there are a few things you want to configure here. The first thing is the container address here. You want to go to your Piwik PRO website, and you want to copy your instance address or your account address. This is where you log into Piwik PRO, right? So pretty much you can go to your browser. You can copy the address here. Now we want to go back to our admin dashboard in WordPress. We want to go to this field here and paste the address. We want to make one modification here. As you can see, we should insert containers between the account name and the Piwik PRO. So I'm going to do this like this, containers. Okay. Once we have the address, we also want to insert the site ID here. The site ID is also located in your administration module of Piwik PRO. So we want to go back and go here. Once you see this ID field here and hover over it, you can see you can copy it by clicking here. We want to go back to the admin dashboard and insert the site ID here. So that's pretty much it for the basic settings. There's also some additional things we can set up here, such as selecting which container we would like to add. For each installation method, you would most likely want to stick with installing the basic container, the asynchronous container. The additional container here, the synchronous container, is usually used for very specific things like A/B testing, integrations, or other things that should load synchronously. But perhaps this topic should be discussed in another video or somewhere else. We're going to stick with the basic container for now because this is all we need. We also can change the data layer name to a different one. We'll leave it on default. This will work for most setups. And you can also enable the WooCommerce integration in case you are running a store, an e-commerce store. I'm going to keep it for now, even though I don't really use a store here, but this shouldn't impact anything. Yeah, so once we have everything that I mentioned, let's recap. The most important things here is the container address and the site ID. Once you have that, you can click Save Changes. As you can see, we've saved settings, and we should be able to check whether the container and the product works on your website. I'm going to open a new tab with the website. And the first thing that should hit you, let's call it that, is the privacy, the consent banner here. By default, we'll only display analytics because there's no other consent types used in Piwik Pro.
What if we decided not to present the consent form on the website? How can we check if we track anything? Do we have any other options?
Yep. There's a couple of options. Let's go the easiest route. Let's not focus on like developer stuff, like checking requests and so on. We have a very specific feature that helps you, if you're a less technical person, to verify whether the tracking works correctly. So the first thing you want to do is go back to your Piwik Pro account. Now we want to go to the menu and select the analytics module. Once it's loaded, we want to select the proper site. It's set to demo site by default. We want to select WordPress YouTube demos. Okay, you may see no data on the dashboard yet. That's thing we want to mention here is that this is not real-time data. It has to be processed. It usually takes, I don't know, up 30 minutes, 1 hour until it shows up here. What we want to do to check the real-time data is go to settings and then to tracker debugger on the left side here. Okay. This view should show you real-time data for sessions of visitors that visit your website. The data can be shown for up to 6 hours. And you can check multiple things here, starting with session dimensions, something for a different video. But the important thing here is we'd like to check whether we are tracking the basic stuff, the built-in stuff, like page views. So we did enter the page, and that should be correct here. The timestamp also looks correct. We also displayed the consent form, so it looks good to me. We can also see if we are seeing the consent decision events. So let's go back to the website and click accept all, just to show that the consent is actually passed to Piwik Pro. Okay, let's go back to Piwik Pro and refresh the tracker debugger. And as you can see, we have granted full consent and consent to analytics. We didn't define any tags in our tag manager that we use the other ones, so this wouldn't show up here as yes. We only use this one.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Antoni. That's brilliant. Thank you for this introduction. Let's move to another method. Okay, now let's jump onto the Joomla installation. Can you walk us through the process of installing the Piwik Pro on Joomla?
Yeah, sure. First thing I want to mention here, I'm not a Joomla expert by any means. Basically, I want to show you how to install without any dependencies or on plugins that are not created by Piwik Pro. Sadly, for Joomla, we don't have a dedicated plugin. I will show you how to install it directly in your website in the code. It's not very hard as it seems. I'm going to show you each step here. So the first thing, again, we want to do here is go to menu and administration module. Then we want to select our Piwik Pro site that would be connected to the Joomla website. Then what we want to go is the installation tab. Now we want to select install manually, and the tab will open up, let's call it. Now what you see here is what we call the Piwik Pro container code. The container code pretty much consists of each module available in Piwik Pro. Installing it should allow you to use each and every functionality that Piwik Pro offers. And this is the most recommended and complementary way of installing Piwik Pro on your website.
It says there that we need to copy and paste this code right after the opening body tag on every page of your site or app. What I often got asked when I had a call with our clients, they were always wondering if what does it mean installing it on the each and every page of your site or app. Does that mean that we need to install it on every page, even like whenever we add let's say a new blog post? Do we need to add it manually over there again and again? That seems like a time-consuming process. How does it work? Can you expand on that? What would be the good answer that you would give?
So to answer your question first, it's not really that we have to add it manually on each and every page. So we have to add it manually on blog, we have to manually add it on contact, on the landing page, and so on. Most modern or even older CMS systems, frameworks, or other website frameworks support layouts. What does it mean simply is you can place the code in one place and it will insert it on each and every page. To put it into perspective, to give you a practical example, if you go to the page, you'll see that in reality, there's a couple of elements that are repeating themselves on each and every page, right? Stuff like the header or the navigation bar. This is the thing we want to access on pretty much every page. If we scroll down, we can see a footer. We also see this on every page. So these frameworks, these content management systems need to have a way to not force you into repeating the code, right? We want to be able to add things in one place, and then this should be distributed for every page you visit.
Sounds good.
Okay, so for the installation process, as mentioned before, we want to first off land here in the installation tab of your Piwik Pro website, of your Piwik Pro site, and select the Install Manually tab here. Let's not copy the code right now, we'll do it later. Let me show you first how to access your theme in Joomla. So what we want to go is to do, what we want to do is to go to the dashboard of your Joomla website. And now we want to go to the System tab. Now we want to go to the Site Templates. And we want to select your current template/theme. You should be greeted with some kind of like a file browser. What we want to look at right now is index.php, right here on the left. Now we should be able to see a code editor on your right side. We don't want to open it in like a full window, full screen, because we're going to switch tabs anyway in a couple of moments. Okay, let's focus on the code here. What we want to do basically is scroll down a bit. Until we see the body tag. You should be able to locate it pretty easily once you see the head tag that's closing. You should be able also to click Ctrl+F to search for the body tag quickly. Let me show you. All right, you should jump directly to it once we insert it into the search bar. Let's close it for now. Okay, once we have the body tag located, the general recommendation for installing Piwik Pro is that it's added right after the body tag in the HTML code opens. That means that it's best to put it somewhere right here before any other element is inserted into the body. Okay, I have added a new line here just to indicate where we want to put it. Don't really, I wouldn't really mention the exact line here, because depending on your theme, on your customization, the line could be different. There could be much more code here. We want to focus on searching for the body tag. Okay, let's go back to the Piwik Pro account. And we should be able to copy the container code. Copy to clipboard. As you can see, we get a pop-up that it is. Let's go back to the Joomla dashboard. And we want to paste in the container code right into the line we have just created. In reality, if you have some technical experience and you perhaps would like to format the code a bit, I mean, add like a couple of lines, a couple of spaces before or after the code, suit yourself. I'm not going to do this right now because we're not very focused on the code readability right now. We want to just showcase how to easily install it. Okay, so once we have the code inserted here, you should be able to see that there's a beginning of the script tag and there's the ending of it. Once you have that, we want to save and close the file right here. As you can see, the file has been saved. And we want to check our website whether the Piwik Pro Consent banner shows up, just like with WordPress. Okay, I'm just going to refresh the page by pressing F5. And as you can see, the banner popped up.
Looks good. Thank you. So that was a Joomla installation. Let's move on to the another method of installing the Piwik Pro, or another platform. Thank you. Okay, so the next method of installing Piwik Pro is via Google Tag Manager. Google Tag Manager is quite popular platform, so probably it would be good to include it in this video. So my first question is probably, is it possible to install Piwik Pro via Google Tag Manager?
Yep, it's of course possible. There are multiple reasons why you might do so to install Piwik Pro through Google Tag Manager. For example, you want to migrate from Google Tag Manager to Piwik Pro Tag Manager, and you want to copy tags, so on. You want to work with both to compare them, or perhaps you want to keep them both for any possible reason, whether it's a short-term or long-term / permanent thing. Yeah, the installation itself is pretty easy in my opinion. So let's see how it goes. Yeah, the first thing we want to do is actually go to our Piwik Pro account. And as always, goes to administration module. I'm already here, so I'm not going to click it. I want to select our website, our Piwik Pro site, and then go to the installation tab. Once we are there, I want to open Google Tag Manager here. And as you can see, there are a couple of steps we want to take here. I'm not going to read everything here. What we want to focus on is this step number 7. We are not going to copy the code for now, because we want to go through the steps here first. I'm going to show you how it goes live, of course. So let's go back to Google Tag Manager first. Let's select tags on the left and then go to New. Okay, once you're here, let's click on Tag Configuration and select Custom HTML. Okay, there's the HTML field here. We're basically gonna go back to the Piwik PRO account and copy and paste the container here. So let's go back. Piwik PRO account and click on Copy to Clipboard. And now back to Google Tag Manager. And we want to paste the HTML in here. Okay, once it's done, I want to go to Triggering and select All Page Views. For some more advanced setups, perhaps you want to use the Google Tag Manager with another consent platform. The trigger might be different, but we are going to do a basic setup here. So we're going to stick with all pages, page view, the default trigger here. Once we have this, we probably want to name the tag. Let's go here, remove the placeholder, and call it Piwik PRO Container. Okay, let's save. And now we have the tag saved here. I'm going to do a preview of the website. I don't need to push the changes already. Maybe you want to submit the changes later for whatever reason. We are going to use the preview mode here. Okay, let's click on it. I've already entered the website, so I have the address here, but you might need to do this if the address is not available in this field. Let's connect. A quick loading time. Okay. And after a while, we can see that both the Google Tag Assistant is here and the Piwik PRO consent banner is also here. For further debugging or whatever you'd like to check when it comes to Google Tag Manager, you can go back to Tag Assistant. We can continue and verify whether the tag was actually fired in Google Tag Manager. As you can see, under the tags fired category, we can see that the Piwik PRO container was added.
Mm-hmm. Looks good. Seems rather easy. Is there any benefit of using Google Tag Manager, or is there any drawbacks? If there are any, would you mind elaborating on that?
Okay. I wouldn't rate anything here. I'd rather stick to perhaps you need to use this tool for whatever reason or use another tool for whatever reason. Let's stick with perhaps saying what could be the problem here. This is a bit of a different installation because we're installing Piwik PRO Container. So that means all of the modules such as Analytics and the CDP, Tag Manager, and Consent Manager through another Tag Manager, which is not a very standard installation method. We usually do this directly in a website source code or via a plugin, right? There could be a few things you want to consider or simply keep in your mind. First thing being is that we are nesting the tag managers. The first thing is you are adding let's say double amount of code to your website, which could in some ways impact the loading speed of your website. You probably want to keep one of them in the end, but if it works for you and perhaps your website is pretty fast in the beginning and you can add this amount of code, additional code to your website, then you're good to go. The second thing is that you are nesting one tool in another one. Now, let's say you have installed Piwik PRO container through Google Tag Manager. You have to keep in mind that in case the Google Tag Manager gets blocked, it doesn't load for whatever reason, it could be an outage on the Google side. You have to keep in mind that the Piwik PRO container that is installed this way won't also load to your website. That means that if you're using Piwik PRO Consent Manager, the consent form won't show up, for example, right? I don't think this happens often, but it's worth mentioning here. Another more like technical, advanced, I would say, thing that power users might want to know is that if you're using the same data layer for both Piwik PRO Tag Manager and Google Tag Manager, you can, for example, get a bit flooded data layer, right? You're getting events from both GTM and Piwik PRO Tag Manager at the same time. It can get a bit messy, even in case, for example, if you have some other events generated from your website, it can get even messier. These are not big blockers or anything, but things worth keeping in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you for that. And now I know that there's a Piwik PRO plugin a template, a tag template that can be used with Google Tag Manager. Can you mention that as well and perhaps add your comment on that plugin?
Yeah, sure. You're actually right. It's in context of Google Tag Manager, we're talking about templates. In this specific example, we're talking about community templates. Community template because it's not added by Google themselves, rather a third party. So in this case, Piwik PRO. The main difference here between the tag template, the tag community template, is that it only adds the data collection part of Piwik PRO. What that means, it only adds the tracking code. We're missing out on the Piwik PRO Tag Manager, Consent Manager, CDP in this case. So the most recommended way of installing Piwik PRO through Google Tag Manager would be installing the Piwik PRO container code like we've shown before, right? Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you are getting only a part of the Piwik PRO experience, which I don't know if you want to. There's also another thing. The Piwik PRO Tag Manager is closely synchronized with other modules. CDP triggers, like audience triggers, reflecting things from the administration settings. Everything is synchronized automatically. Once you save the settings in the administration module, you'll see them pretty much instantly in the tag manager in the Piwik PRO tag. It's very useful if you don't want to mess around with custom code or any custom implementation of sorts.
So all in all, basically using this template, unless there's a good reason for it, is not recommended because it strips down the entire Piwik PRO platform of its most popular features: CDP, Consent Manager, Tag Manager, and primarily pretty much a lot of settings that wouldn't work if we were to install it via template. So it's the least recommended way of installing.
Yeah, exactly. There may be some specific needs for when you want to install it. Perhaps you only want to test how the tracking Piwik PRO works, or you want to, for other reasons, keep only the tracking code. And maybe I should show you how to find the template, just so you know. Okay, we're staying in the same view as before. We also want to go to the new button here. When we go to tag configuration again, go to community template gallery. Once it loads, we want to go to the search bar here and type in Piwik PRO. And as you can see, there's the template. It's worth checking whether the template is verified. It means that template is coming from Piwik Pro and not some other third party. For whatever reason, they would add the template here. Once you have it located, just click on it and add to your workspace.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
Okay, Anthony, I think we've covered a lot today, but I would like you to perhaps share some thoughts on some frameworks, because nowadays a lot of the websites, modern websites especially, use popular frameworks such as Angular, such as React, and what is perhaps recommended method of installing Piwik Pro here, and if you could expand on the installation process in those kind of websites. What is the difference, and anything that you believe would be good to know for anybody who is using such frameworks?
Okay, sure. There's actually a couple of frameworks that, let's say, Piwik Pro supports. As you mentioned, Angular, React, but also Next.js and Gatsby, some of them. And the general rule of thumb here would be very similar to what we said before. Of course, you can use the manual method. Like we said before, you can try to insert a Piwik Pro container directly in the source code of React or Angular. You could, in this case, struggle a bit with having to find out where exactly in the application you should insert it. All right, there's a lot of things like templates, layouts in Next.js, just a lot of moving parts, which make it a bit more difficult than with the older types of websites or applications, right? That was probably the main point why our SDKs were developed, to help make the installation process and the tracking process in general easier for our clients that are using those frameworks. I don't want to go through all of them because the rule here would be similar. Why would you
maybe generally what it's all about?
In examples like Angular or React, we're talking a bit about a bit different website rendering, or with Next.js and server-side rendering. Some things may be different, where we render the site on the server side, like 20 years ago, or in some other applications where we render the website on client side. As I said before, a lot of moving parts. One of the biggest advantages of using those SDKs is the proper container initialization on each page. You don't have to worry that you have inserted it in the wrong file, in the wrong place in your source code. You follow the guidelines, pretty much insert 2 or 3 lines of code, add the account name and the site UID, and you should be good to go with the basic tracking. Basic tracking, that is, because we also provide some additional things, such as dedicated services or methods that you can use to track events directly in your React or Angular app or whatever the SDK would be. What I mean here is stuff like custom events, e-commerce events. There are for sure things in your application from one of those frameworks that could not be caught with Tag Manager, whether it's Piwik Pro or Google Tag Manager. There are parts of the React lifecycle or how the code is rendered that could be inaccessible outside of the application. That's why we provide services that could allow you to hook into those places and track events right there. Other than that, let's call it smaller things, but I think appreciated by many developers, such as the TypeScript integration. It for sure makes their life easier when it comes to not making mistakes and not committing bugs to your source code. And that's about it. The biggest point here is the ease of installation and the feeling that you have done it proper way. And later on, there are some other advantages, but this is the biggest one in my opinion.
Thanks very much. I think that was quite comprehensive. So thanks very much. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking it and subscribing to our channel. Check the description below to find some useful links like free Piwik Pro sign-up page, community forum page, and links to related videos. Until next time.